need to do is all of these, little tabs that are hot, so to speak, we want to, make sure that we click every one of them. So like on the calculation, it's going to ask you to calculate the estimated, workers' compensation. So it's $390,000 times 0.2%. What'd you say?
780.
What?
780.
$780? And it says, assume that Columbia's actual payroll for the year is $398, calculate the total insurance premium owed. So again, when we're calculating at the beginning of the year, it's an estimate. At the end of the year, the workers' comp people will come in and they'll do an annual audit and calculate, did you go over or are you below your estimate? And if you're over the estimate, then of course you have to make up the difference on that. So we had estimated $390,000. We actually had payroll of $398. So we owe on $8,000 more of wages in workers' comp. So what is 8,000 times point, whatever it was? Point.
On this one, it made you multiply 398 times.
Oh, it did?
What you included in the answer, and it was 796. It didn't ask you to, I thought it was to multiply the difference, but it was just the total.
Interesting, because it sure doesn't read that way, does it? Because it says, calculate the total insurance premium owed. Well, we've already paid $780, we should only owe, $16. But
it's in the next question.
does it do that? Okay, so the next part then, of course, well, so then you need to go to your journal entry. I wish I could make this bigger, but it's not. Yeah, that's the only one complaint I have about Cengage is it's not very user-friendly to let you see everything, but you kind of have to learn how to manipulate it a little bit. So as of January 2nd, when we did the estimate for workers' compensation, of course the date would be, what was it, January 2nd?
So a person's either going to write all this physically down on a piece of another paper, take a screenshot,
Yeah.
and then go to that page and then enter the data.
Right, because we need to go back to the instructions. It was January
That's
2nd.
what I'm, that's ridiculous.
It is. Not a darn thing I can do about it, though. So, I guess it didn't matter the year, January 2nd. And the account should have been,
Workers' compensation insurance expense.
yeah. So, in your chart of accounts that you would have pulled up, it's a hot link, but there's not really anything you do with it except to look at the account numbers that they've got everything assigned to. And they do have account number 531 is workers' compensation insurance expense. So, and what was that figure, the first one, 780?
Yes.
And it should have said they paid it, right?
Cash, yes.
Wonder why that's red.
You have to, put the little,
Click
mark.
what?
Mark behind S, question mark, not question mark,
That little thing?
yeah. It has to be exactly like it is on
Yeah.
the first one.
That's the other thing I don't like. If it has to be exact, they should. Yep, there you go. So you gotta top the account name until it turns black and makes it usable. So, sure, I'm glad somebody's on top of this game here. It's obviously not me. Okay, so that was on January the 2nd, when we were prepaying the premium based upon an estimate only. At the end of the year, then it was the next journal entry here. Prepare journal entry as of December 31st to record the adjustment for the underpayment. The actual payment of the additional premium will take place in January of next year. So basically, they're saying you're not gonna credit cash here, you're gonna credit, I presume, accounts payable. So, our date will be 12/31, or 12/30?
31.
31. And it will also be to workers' compensation insurance expense, and the difference was $16. And date again, and should be accounts payable. Let's check our work and see. Nope, was there a
Yeah.
insurance payable?
You have to put workers' compensation insurance payable, the whole.
Yeah, I understand your frustration, so, one of the reasons, okay, that, we got everything else right. I guess you don't necessarily have to put a date there on the second one. That won't let me take it out because. Accounting is definitely one of those subjects that you'll take where detail is everything. It really is, and Cengage has definitely got that part of it down to test you on detail. So, essentially, that is workers' comp in a nutshell. We prepay, in essence, based upon an estimate, and then we either get a refund or we pay some more at the end of the year once our final wage and salary figures come in. So does that clear that up on the, was that one of the ones that you were thinking about? Or that-
Yes, and then on the next group of exercises, the actual quiz maybe we have?
This one maybe? Where she's got,
Does it have the same type of formatting with all those lines and, or
well, yeah,
where you have to
it's got
go?
a journal that you're gonna have to,
Okay,
but it's
yeah.
asking you to
In
do-
general, that's the kind of questions I was just talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime, on instructions and it pops up that general journal, and of course, that's what they're asking you here for. She's giving you all this information, that this was in her general ledger as of July 15th, and I presume that the instructions were telling you that, yeah, journalize a quarterly payment of the federal income taxes, Social Security, Medicare on July 15th, and the payments of the FUTA and SUTA on July 31st. And so, this is kind of a good one to go over, so let's just kind of, go through it. That remember that the employer, of course, is obligated for Social Security, Medicare, and then any taxes that they withheld from the employee, they have to be paid in to the respective agencies on specific due dates. And then as the employer, they are also obligated, of course, to pay FUTA and SUTA on behalf of the employees. And we aren't given any of the calculations where these numbers came from. They just want you to prepare the journal entry. And so, again, the journal entry was to journalize the quarterly payment of these taxes that are on the books as being liabilities on July 15th, and then FUTA and SUTA won't be due until July 31st. So again, you have to be very detailed in your reading what they're actually asking for. So they're asking for July 15, and you're right, I mean, you do have to go back in here to the instructions, and you've got to either write these things down here and then record them as you go along, or you've got to have a photographic memory. I was wondering if this is actual numbers here somewhere. I don't see it in an actual problem. So, maybe 9563, 2250, and 5260. That's what we'll pay the Social Security, Medicare, and the federal income tax payable on the 15th of the month. And to pay off any liability, you're going to do what to that liability? Debit or credit? You're going to debit it. for those numbers.
9,563. And then it's 2,250. Next one is employee federal income tax.
So, as you can see, when it turns red, that's not a legitimate chart of account that you can use. And what was it?
5,260.
And of course, when we pay them, what are we going to end up crediting?
Cash.
Cash. So it will be, for the sum of these three debits will be our credit.
$17,073.
1773.
$1,073. Yes.
Okay. And then we're not paying FUTA and SUTA until, 31st. And how much was FUTA?
504.
SUTA?
Oh, you have to put cash below it first
Oh, really?
to pay it.
Each one?
Yeah. And then you get tax, and then that was 3,402.
8,000.
3,402.
Thank you. So, check my work and we're good. So, you're right, it is a pain in the royal behind, but you gotta somehow, oh, I forgot to put my dates in. Somewhere how you've either gotta write it down or sit there and take pictures with your phone or something so that you've got it. I wish it were more user-friendly, but.
Somehow, I don't think in the real world that would fly very well.
Well, in the real world, you're not,
No, manually doing it.
you're not doing it on the computer where you don't have access to all of your stuff.
Mhm.
Accounting is, believe it or not, is one of the most difficult subjects to find good books for. And as far as a computerized type system, which this is what, they're almost forcing us to convert everything to computerized. It's almost impossible to find good programs or good software that makes it easy. It's just one of those very difficult subjects to convert to computer.
Can you go over 5, 6, and 7?
5, 6, and 7 on the homework.
Uh-huh.
5. This one, Goodson? Okay. So this is the total cost of an employee, and it has to do with, again, what does, someone that we've got on a salary, what does it really cost the employer in full to hire that person? Obviously, it's not just what they make. So, this particular person, Goodson, employs Eduardo at $47,900 a year. He is subject to the employer's Social Security tax rate of 6.2, Medicare 1.45, in addition SUTA at 5.2, and FUTA at 0.6 on the first 7,000. Compute the total amount of his salary. So let me put this on up here on the document screen. I'm going to switch screens for a minute. After I get all this stuff, the guy makes
His gross or his net?
his gross is $47,900 per year. So now let's switch over here and watch me do my calculations for it. Okay, so we've got Eduardo's making his salary is $47,900 a year. That's the automatic first cost to the employer. It's what have I agreed to pay you before any deductions for taxes. We're obligated to pay the entire $47,900. But of course, we have to match Social Security So it's gonna be 47.9,
46.
46?
Yes.
Up here it says, yours must be a little bit different.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yours is 46, this one is 47.9.
Okay.
And they do that intentionally, so that
Right.
cuts down on cheating and stuff.
Hmm.
So, we'll do 47.9 so that we can check it based upon how I'm logged in here. So 47.9 at 0.062 or 6.2%. 47.9 times 0.062, I got 2969.80 for the employer's cost of Social Security. And of course, the employer has to also match Medicare, which would be 47.9 times 0.0145 or 1.45%. Or 694.55.
When you're calculating them,
Uh-huh.
you get a bigger number, obviously, so do you take off the last number, the last two numbers?
Yes, you round up to the second decimal spot, up or down. Or not down, but, like I got, 47.9 times 0.0. I got exactly 694.55 for Medicare.
So,
Did you get a number bigger or smaller than that?
oh, because this one's 46.90, so if I multiply that,
Yeah, you should have gotten 680.05.
yeah, 680.05.
Yeah.
So, would it really just be 680?
No, you go, in payroll, you don't round anything,
Okay.
except that when you're paying someone, if their taxes come out to be $17.56 or 17.65789, blah, 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 then you would do withhold that extra little, fraction of a penny there. But, payroll is one of the things that, very few items in accounting that never gets rounded anymore. Then, of course, we're obligated for their FUTA and their SUTA, and remember, we only pay on the first $7,000 of wages, so since this person made well over $7,000, we're only gonna compute it, right here. The maximum amount for purposes of this book that we pay into FUTA per employee is $42, or 7,000 times 0.006, which is 0.6%. SUTA, for the purposes of this book, is 5.4% up to 7,000, and that always computes for this course. The maximum SUTA payment would be $378. So we'll add $42 over here and $378. The total cost to employ someone is their salary plus the 4 mandatory taxes that we are obligated for. So let me add those up and we'll put it into the homework and see if it checks out.
Ah, but that's not even the cost of you training them. And other things.
Yeah. Now this is the bare minimum, bare bones. Okay, so I got 51,984.35. So let's put that in here. 51,984.35 and check it. Did they add something else? Did I do something wrong here?
Was it the student tax on mine, it says 5.8.
Huh?
The student tax rate, it says 5.8. I don't know if that's.
Oh, they use 5.2% for SUDA. See what I mean?
Yeah, mine says 5.8.
Yeah, they're testing you in your ability to read and
Yes.
acknowledge what they're trying to tell you. So 7,000 times 0.052 is 364. So it should have been 51,970.35. There we go. That checked it outright. So, as you can see, the homework is really important in that, of course, you get unlimited tries at it, and it does really test your reading and comprehension. Are you interpreting everything correctly? So, does that clear up your question that you had on it?
Wait, do I round it? Because I got 4,035.85. So would I round it to 4,036?
Everything should have come out to be where there wasn't really any rounding. What was yours was 46.9,
46.9.
and your SUDA rate was 5.8%.
Yes.
Did you get $2720.20? $2,720.20
On what?
on SUDA?
I got 40.
Wait a minute, I did something wrong. Not 7,000, sorry. I got $406.
Yes. And
And SUDA will be $42.
then, yeah.
And then 46,900 times 0.062 for Social Security should have been 2,907.80.
Yeah, I got that.
And Medicare would have been
680.
$680.05.
Yeah.
So when those added together, you're still not getting the right answer? So 46,900 plus 680.05 plus, what was it, 2720.20?
Which one, the first one?
20,
2,907.80 was the 41st.
and what was Medicare?
Medicare was 680.05.
And,
Then it was $42,
and SUDA was how much?
406.
406 even? Did you get 50,935.85? See if that check would be the right answer.
50,000 what?
50,935.85.
Mine's wrong too. I'm doing the exact same
Oh, yeah.
stuff, and it's just saying it's wrong.
That was it. Calculated it.
Okay, let me go back to the camera here so I can see. Okay, you got what?
Mine got two different ones, and they're still saying it's wrong, but I did the exact same way you're doing it. And it's not.
Okay, how much was your gross salary?
My gross salary, 46,000. That was my salary for the year.
46,000 even?
Yes, 46,000 even.
It wasn't 46.9?
Nope.
Okay, let me calculate that for you right quick. So far, I've never found an error that Cengage makes. So we'll just put in these numbers. FUTA will always be 42 if it exceeds 7,000. Get back here. Okay. And then SUTA. What SUTA rate did they give you?
My SUTA rate is 5.4.
5.4. So that will be 378. And then let me calculate the Social Security Medicare. $2,852. $667. I got 49,939. Is that what you got?
No, I got 52,279. But maybe I didn't.
Do you have that homework problem open that you can put in the 49,939 and see if that's the right answer?
Yes, ma'am, it is the right answer. How'd you get that?
Okay. Yeah, it's so easy to put in just one little number wrong in your calculator, so.
Okay, yeah, I think that's what I did, honestly, I think it was a 3.
Yeah. So, anytime that you're missing one, just go back and always just check your calculations first. And then, of course, check and make sure you're using the exact percentages that they're giving you for everything. Okay, so 5, 6, and 7, is that what you asked for?
Yes.
Okay. So any questions on total cost of an employee? Anybody? Okay. Let's go to the next one, which was selected information from the payroll register of, I think I went to the wrong problem. Yep. Okay, so selected information from the payroll register of Howard's Cutlery for the week of October 7th is presented. Social Security tax of 6.2% on the first, 128.4. Medicare 1.45%. FUTA 0.6%, and SUTA is 5.4% on the first $7,000. And so this is, again, this is a good one to go over to make sure you understand how this particular table is working. The instructions, we'll go to that in just a second, but what they've done here is they've given you all the employees and what they have made prior to today. In other words, prior to October 7th, this first column, cumulative pay before current earnings. This is what prior to October 7th, from the beginning of the year until today, they had already accumulated in wages in this first column. Everybody understand that? That's an important little point there. And for the current period, for October 7th, this is every individual's gross pay for the current period. And so this little chart is, eventually, I guess when we get to the instructions, it's asking you to compute the amount that we're liable, or the amount of wages that are liable for unemployment compensation and Social Security. You check the instructions to make sure. It says calculate the amount of taxable earnings for unemployment, Social Security, and Medicare taxes. And so it is almost like we've got to somehow pull these. It won't let me there. But I've got to go through and fill in the current earnings for every employee, it appears. What that additional is. Entries of 0 are not required and will be cleared if entered. Whatever the heck that means. Okay, so let me go back up here, current earnings for, yeah. Like I said, I understand your frustration. I guess we're basically moving this first column of their earnings into this first column here for current earning. Excuse me. They want the current earnings for every employee inserted there. So, let me just write these down. Okay. So while we're here, let's just glance at this quickly though. We've got 3 employees here. Well, actually we've got 4 that are well beyond the $7,000 for FUTA and SUTA. Everybody agree with that?
Mhm.
They've already made their $7,000 way back in the beginning of the year. So none of these, from Arlene all the way down to Brandon, those 4 employees won't have anything subject to unemployment taxes for the period. And neither will, David and Louisa will have part of their current pay subject to unemployment until they get up to the $7,000 mark. So,
Simply subtracting 7 from their current.
no, from their cumulative.
Cumulative,
prior to today.
yeah.
Yeah, so, let's go back over here then to fill in the chart. Okay, so for David, his current earnings are $980. For unemployment, he had already earned prior to this particular check, he had already made $66.30. So I'm gonna subtract 7,000 minus $66.30. He had $370 left to pay, that we were obligated to pay into the unemployment funds. Does everybody understand that? I took 7,000 minus his cumulative earnings. So only $370 of the $980 is subject to unemployment. But what about Social Security? How much of David's earnings will be subject to Social Security taxes?
All.
All of it. Because remember, we had to pay up to, in this book, I think it's 148.2 or 142.8, I can't remember which one. Okay, Louisa, her current earnings are $1,200, and prior to this particular paycheck, her current earnings were $61.50. So I'm gonna take 7,000 minus $61.50. We still owe $850 in wages that will be subject to unemployment, and since she made $1,200, of course, only $850 are subject to unemployment. But all $1,200 are subject to Social Security, because there's only one person, the very last employee, that's even close to the Social Security wages being potentially maxing out. So we know that Arlene, she had $2,380 in current earnings, but we had already discussed that we're already fully paid in for Arlene for unemployment, so no zeros, and that's where it took out the 0, I guess. $2,380 though is subject to Social Security. Same thing with Robert, $1,760 is his current earnings. Nothing subject to unemployment, but all $1,760 for Social Security.
Wait, how are you getting Social Security?
Huh?
How are you getting Social Security?
We pay on every dollar of an employee's Social Security up to the maximum, which in this book is like $142,000, or
That's 128.4.
is it 128.4 for this
Yeah.
book? Okay. So we pay up to that amount in full on everyone, and so these particular people, Arlene, Robert, and Lance, well, all of them, Lance was $1,460, all of those guys, every dollar they make is subject to Social Security tax. Does that make sense?
So you just transfer the current goes to pay?
Yeah, current earnings is also their Social Security earnings.
If it's over 7,000?
If it's over, no, not the 7,000, that's only for unemployment,
Okay.
okay? Social Security, the only person that was close was Brandon, and how much were his wages? His current wages are 3,100, but he was already up to 127, wasn't he? 127 something? And what is this book? The max? One,
So the maximum is 128, 400?
128,
400. For the earnings?
I can't remember, 128.4?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what his, he had accumulated prior to today 127,000. So how much more do we owe on, Brandon, do we have to pay into Social Security? It'd be 128.4 minus 127, right?
Okay. So,
1,400? Everybody following me?
yeah.
So then we just start adding the columns down. Total wages, I got 10,880. The only wages subject to unemployment taxes, 1,220. $91.80, the total for Social Security. And then we use this little chart here to compute how many dollars of tax are we subject or liable for Social Security, which would be 91.80 times 0.062 or 569.16. Medicare, what number do I use to compute my Medicare?
625.
Huh?
625, 145.
145. And which ones of these earnings are subject to Medicare? Even though we don't have a column here for Medicare, what do we know about Medicare?
Only the employer's loan? No. It's equally shared.
Medicare, we pay on every dollar of wages.
Every dollar.
It's unlimited. So we just simply take total wages, 10,880 times 1.45%, and that's where I got 157.76. And then FUTA and SUTA will be based upon the $1,220 here. The FUTA tax rate was, $1,220 times 0.006 is $7.32, and SUTA will be $1,220 times 5.4%, 65.88. So the total employer taxes are 569.16 plus 157.76 plus 732 plus 65.88, or I got $800.12. So let me check that and see if we messed up anywhere. Okay, it's not gonna let me check. I don't see where it's letting me check.
This equation for funding the government the way we're going is not sustainable.
No. I don't see where it's allowing me to check it. Did you see, is it in your homework, anybody?
What? Check it straight?
Yeah, I'll check my work here. It's not letting me
Yeah.
check my table.
Yeah,
It is?
let me check mine.
It did? Think I'm not over in that? I have a check work button. Am I missing it? Do y'all see it?
No, it's not on the screen.
They're always at the very bottom, aren't they? Left, bottom left, in blue.
I don't know what is not letting me do anything. Come on. I guess we'll know when we do the journal entry question.
The current earnings, I'm kind of circle that still. If it, since it's higher than 7,000, how would you get the unemployment compensation?
Do what? Repeat that, please.
The current earnings for the last four, how they're higher than the 7,000,
Uh-huh.
how would you get the unemployment compensation then?
If we've already paid in on the first 7,000, then there's no wages subject to unemployment for, once it reaches $7,000 per employee, we never pay again into the fund, FUTA or SUTA fund for them. So in this particular, yeah, it's not letting me. There it is.
How would I calculate the unemployment compensation?
Huh?
How would I get the unemployment compensation for the?
Unemployment compensation?
You mean the liability left?
The unemployment compensation.
It's the amount left on the $7,000. So like
Right.
for David had earned prior to this check, he had already made $6,630.
Yeah, I got that.
And we only pay on the first $7,000 per employee. So we've already paid on $6,630. So we only owe the difference between $7,000 and $6,630 for David.
Yeah, okay, on mine, for Arlene, her total is 54,380.
Her wages?
Uh-huh, her current earnings,
Her what?
her current earnings,
Her current earnings are $54,000?
380.
I got 2,380 are her current earnings.
Okay, no, mine's are 54,380. So how would I do that?
Are you sure that wasn't the cumulative before this one?
Yeah,
Arlene, she'd already made before this paycheck $54,350. We don't owe any more on unemployment compensation for her. Is that what you're asking?
yeah, so would it be zero or?
Uh-huh. See how these are blank?
Okay, I don't have to put anything in there? Okay. So I leave them blank?
What?
I just leave those blank, since it's already.
Right, I put in a zero and it took it away and just made it blank.
Okay.
Oh, I'm on the wrong camera. Sorry about that. I should have alerted me to that. Well,
Okay.
there we go. It's hard to see, but, see every one of these, Arlene, Robert, Lance, and Brandon, I put in the zero in that column, but it took it to blank.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Okay. And then, like I said, Social Security, all of them are still subject to Social Security except Brandon. He maxed out in that paycheck, the 128.4 minus his previous 127. So does yours have oh, there it is, check work, let's see. So it looks like we got all the calculations correct on the table. Yep. And now the second part was to do the journal entry for the employer's share. So the general journal. This was what date? October 7th. Prepare the journal entry to record just the employer's taxes. So, October 7th, we'll debit payroll tax expense. There's obviously another name for it.
Does that start that word cash?
Huh?
That was another problem. You had to start out with the word cash or something?
I think it was just that.
Oh.
I would left off the ES. And the payroll taxes expense will be this $800.12. So I'll just debit 812. And then I will credit Social Security taxes payable. And it was $569.16. Medicare tax payable, and it was $157.76. Why won't it let me expand that?
Yeah, there's like no word features to this where you could like just bring it down.
Suda was 65.88. And Fuda. $732. Check work, and we got all that one. I'm trying to figure out how to expand this, but it's not letting me expand it. The table is just a way of making sure we've accounted for everyone's wages prior to today that we're paying versus today. Okay, so any questions on, what number was that?
7?
7?
Number 6. We were on number 6.
What?
We were on number 6.
6. Any questions on number 6?
No, it was just all that formatting, just that. You've shown and answered it. That's all it was.
Yep. And then number 7, earnings for several employees are given. And they've already computed how much of it was subject to unemployment and Social Security. Calculate the employer's payroll taxes and prepare the journal entry. So in this one, just a little bit different because they've completed the chart for you and you just needed to prepare the journal entry, or calculate the taxes, and then prepare the journal entry. So, first question, calculate the employer's payroll tax expense. So, and they gave you the rates, FUTA, 0.6, FUTA, SUTA, 5.4, Social Security, Medicare. So, for the unemployment compensation column, we would add 300 plus 230 plus 800 plus 30. So that's $1,360 of wages are subject to FUTA and SUTA, so 1,360 times, somebody write this down. 1,360 times 0.6% is $8.16 is what we owe on FUTA. 1,360 times 5.4% is $73.44. And then all wages are subject, or excuse me, this total column over here for Social Security is the same, of course, as current earnings. So all their earnings are subject to Social Security and, of course, Medicare. So 840 plus 960 plus 780 plus 1860 plus 1,000. Total wages for the period were 5,440 times 0.062. Our Social Security liability is $1,000.06. If I did that right.
You're adding up all the Social Security?
Uh-huh. $5,440 times 0.45%. I got 40, I don't know what I'm doing here.
So you add up all the Social Security and you multiply it by the 6.2.
So, Social Security, I got total, this column right here for Social Security, which would be the same as current earnings, as you can see, they're identical. So either way, I got $5,440 in wages. Is that what y'all got? And then I go ahead.
Mine's different, so I got.
Oh, it is different, okay. So then I multiply that by 0.062 to get the Social Security tax, 337.28, and I think I just miscalculated before when I sprouted that number. And then 5,440 times all of it for Medicare would be 78.88, and go back to the, and then the total employer's payroll taxes will be the Social Security, Medicare, FUTA, and SUTA. Did somebody write down the FUTA and SUTA I said?
I wrote down mine. Yours was what, 1440?
I got 1,360 is the amount of wages that were subject, then times 0.6%, $8.16 for FUTA. What was that number? $73.44 for SUTA. I got $497.76 for these particular,
You just add them both together?
yeah, all of them added together as a payroll tax expense. Yep, that was right. So if you haven't figured it out, payroll is very, of course, detail oriented, and it's super easy to make mistakes on your calculator. So if you're getting the wrong answer, chances are you have just miscalculated something, as I did about 5 times there. So $497.76 is the payroll tax expense, and I didn't write down my breakdown there, but the next one is the journal entry, where we're going to debit payroll tax expense. And credit each tax as a liability. So your debit is, whatever that number was, $497.76, and then your 4 credits to your taxes. I like it when they give you a little arrow to find your accounts, so you don't have to type them all in, because I'm lazy.
Oh, you in the drop-down box?
Yeah, and which is what they usually do. What date was this?
7th, 8th? Oh, that, I don't even know. That was
What?
another problem.
7.
7th?
April 7th.
Was it?
April,
Well, that's what mine said.
April 7th?
What are we crediting again?
Huh? I'm naming the accounts. Okay, so this is the journal entry to record payroll taxes. I'm glad I don't have to do this homework. Sorry, guys.
And those 2 blank boxes that I mentioned way at the beginning of the class, I don't even know what they were for.
2 blank boxes.
Up at the very top, where our 2 blue and gray boxes are, you come
Here?
across, see yes, what are those?
I have no idea.
Okay. They're not any, okay.
No, it's not anything.
It's just not, okay.
Okay, so any questions on recording your payroll tax expense journal entry? And let me check it here. And it was all correct. That is one of the nice things about the homework, is that you do get that immediate feedback.
Yeah, I like that.
So. So, and again, you get to do them as many times as you want. So, as far as any blank boxes and stuff,
Mhm.
stick to the, when you get into the problem itself, stick to the instructions and just make sure that you've got each question answered using
Okay.
the drop down from those. I don't know why I maintained it with that, little exclamation point, but. Anyway, we got everything right. Okay, so any other questions? About to lose plain view, so. Any questions, Annabelle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what's your question?
Okay, my question.
She asked if you had a question.
Oh, no, I don't have a question, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No problem. All right, y'all are free to go if you don't have any more questions. Hope I didn't bore you too much.
No, thank you for clarifying for me.
No problem. And like I said, as long as you're taking the exam during, normal day hours, I'm usually available. Email, I'll check that pretty regularly. After dinner time, I'm not so good. See y'all later.
I didn't, do too good on the last exam, cause I don't know what I was thinking was, when it said 5, 6, 7, I started studying 5, 6, and 7, but then for some reason, when I went in again, I was like, wait, we've only done homework 5 and 7, so I was like,
Oh,
maybe that's the only thing.
sorry, I should have
Yeah,
taken
so
out the 6.
I didn't really go over chapter 6 when it was time for the exam, I was just completely confused, I had to take it again.
Well, it shouldn't have been
I
on,
passed it, but I didn't pass it up.
well, it shouldn't have been on there.
What,
Chapter 6 questions shouldn't have been on the exam, it was?
I felt like it was, cause I went over chapters 5 and 8, and I feel like the middle section of the test is touchy for me, cause.
Okay, I'll look at that and I'll make adjustments to everybody, because they were supposed to remove that.
Oh, okay, cause that's hot, that's, yeah, cause it didn't, some of the questions on there I just didn't recognize,
Right.
and, yeah.
Okay, I'll go look at that. Thanks for
Okay,
telling me that.
Thank you. See you later.
Okay.